Now we review 1985's Miserable Turd. Attack of the Beast Creatures! Attack of the Beast Creatures! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so Attack of the Beast Creatures, I believe this is a movie that was mentioned by, or reviewed by Brandon Tenold. Brandon's Cult Movies, and it sat in my inventory for quite some time before I finally just got so bored that I watched it. And my taste in movies is very bizarre. I prefer science fiction. This is not science fiction. What happened in this movie is that you have a group of survivors from a cruise ship land on an island and then are attacked by reddish turd monsters with hair. And the reddish turd monsters with hair are apparently some form of pygmy. But they're about yay big, and they're obviously dolls. The special effects in this movie range from, wow, that was awesome, to, oh my god, what a turd. I think you see 3 instances where there are skeletons in this film. They're probably all the same skeleton made up, and it's an educational skeleton. It has the slice across the forehead where you can open up the skull. They don't look like they're weathered bones. They don't look like they were moved around by animals. They're just silly old skeletons. And yes, bones can be bleached white, but bones that have been suffered predation tend to be not of that quality. They tend to be a little more broken up. Particularly because the predation generally goes after the marrow inside the bone. Anything that can strip a body that fast. But also on this island, there are pools of acid. Never explains exactly why. And how this acid is not also eating through the rock and smelling terrible, we don't know. But that does give you one of the best special effects in the movie. Dude goes for acid, gets his face melted off, and it is awesome. Really great special effect there. The blue filter mid-afternoon for night scenes are cringeworthy, and it's just the plot is really dumb. These creatures, the bad guys, yeah, they're poorly rendered. They're not scary. This looks like a movie from the 70s in terms of its filming style and quality. And it's like, yeah, if they attacked you, you could pretty much just stop, drop, and roll and crush the little buggers, and they would get off you. That's just how these things are. They're not that scary. They look at you with their blank white eyes, and there's no way you're ever going to think that thing is real. I don't know how this movie got made, but then, maybe it was just a lot of fun making this movie. It's one of those things that maybe a group of people got together and said, hey, let's just make a movie, and this is what they did. There's nothing wrong with making a crappy movie. I've seen a lot of crappy movies lately, and, just because a movie is crappy does not mean it wasn't fun to make. So that's one of those things. In any case, this film kind of falls into the fans of the genre only category. It's a cult. It's bizarrely bad. Not bizarre enough, but it's really bad. And there's no way you're going to think this is a good movie. I was reasonably entertained, but didn't care that much. And the beast creatures, they do things like they push the boat off the shore, but the problem with them pushing the boat off the shore is that if this were real life and there really was a boat, then the crew would have moved it completely off, because there are crew members from the liner that survived. They would have moved it completely off the water line in case the high tide moved it out, or lifted it and moved it out to sea. So that would just be one of those things. And there are just a lot more points that would be like, yeah, that wouldn't happen that way, or that wouldn't happen that way. And again, it's really hard for you to mistake acid that's strong enough to burn your flesh for water. It just is. Anyway, so yeah, this is a really dumb movie. It's one of those particularly bizarre cult films. If you're into this kind of movie, yeah, go ahead and watch it. But if you're not, I mean, you're not gonna like it. It's just not one of those films. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Fred the Facehugger, and I'd like to point out that this world isn't a nice place. But you know who's trying to make it a nice place? The owner of this channel, yes. The owner of this channel does things like pay for ocean cleanup, and have trees planted, and even feed orphans in an orphanage in Mexico. Yes, it's a real thing. I'm not kidding. I may be a face-hugging alien from a horror movie, but I'm not a liar. Anyway, when you comment, like, and subscribe, you're supporting that better world, and whereas it may not make a big difference, it may be the difference between one more tree planted, one more pound of trash out of the ocean, or one child not going hungry tonight. So, think about it. Shouldn't you comment? Shouldn't you like? Shouldn't you subscribe? I certainly would if I were you. I'm Fred.